Thanks for
John.
coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I've loved what you've done in the recent weeks with Polyfaction on building up the premier prediction market media empire. So excited to see this
Yeah.
keep going and happy to come on.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to completely pivot into media now. So like you, we were building stuff for a little while, and yeah, we just decided, you know what, way more opportunity in the media space for us at least.
So
So that's kind of what we're doing now. But yeah, we've been trying to get on a stream for a while. I'm super psyched to have you on. To talk about Kairos. And I believe that we're going to do a surprise reveal of the platform, which is going to be really sick. And
right,
it's the first time Kairos has ever kind of been shown. So
right.
I'm super excited for it. Yeah, maybe we can just start with like an introduction on your background and kind of what you've been working on, and yeah, we can go from there.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I would love to. So a little bit of background on me in terms of my previous experience. So I started like my technical, journey. I was doing my computer science master's at the University of Illinois. I'd done some machine learning engineering at NASA, and then I was working at a high frequency trading firm in Chicago called Geneva Trading, working on, building out some proprietary models, which I can't, talk too much about. And then most recently, I was working at SIBO with my buddy Zaid Al Zain, who's also my co-founder. During my time there, I was like focused on like dispersion futures and building out like tradable instruments, or like the theory behind like, well, why would someone even trade a dispersion future? What's the utility? Why would you want to be long a dispersion future? Why would you want to be short? What even is it? Right. And during my time there, I actually became introduced to like these how instruments are designed and what's the point. And that kind of like slowly led to me with my journey of Kairos once I learned more about prediction markets. But yeah, that's a little bit of background on me.
So okay, so hugely technical background. I mean, like I'm not gonna lie, it's an impressive background.
Thank you.
And it's very financy, which is cool. For yeah, especially for this type of product. I'm curious, how did you get into like prediction markets, or what was the kind of specific moment where you thought, okay, prediction markets are kind of like the future of finance. This is like it's more worthwhile to focus on this than say building like a perps terminal. I don't know if that's your mindset, but I'm curious if
Sure.
kind
Yeah.
of
So
if you had that moment.
that's a great question. So when we were at SIBO, me and Zaid, we saw this rapid advancement of prediction markets, especially in institutions, right? Like SIBO is the world's largest options exchange, and they were understanding and looking at prediction markets and the utility of them. Me and Zaid, we strongly believe at Kairos, along with the rest of our team, that prediction markets are the derivatives layer on top of the entire world, right? Options on anything. And while I was working on building stuff like dispersion features at SIBO, I eventually realized like there's a gold mine, what are like prediction markets just sitting there that all of retail wants exposure to, right? And so the question was like right when I noticed that like prediction markets are here to stay, regulation is getting stronger, but it's favorable towards the markets. And I've always been a strong believer, since the 2024 election when I first learned about them, I was like very much in tune with prediction markets. I knew that this was going to continue to advance, and that's when I was like, okay, if prediction markets and our thesis that they're incredibly important instruments is true, and companies like SIBO, CME, at the time, poly market wasn't even legal in the US, but we believed that would be happening. At the time, Robinhood was only using Kalshi's prediction markets. However, we believe they'd create their own, which ended up being true. And then Kalshi, we believe that this is going to continue, and more prediction markets are going to emerge as they should, and will be the aggregated interface across them all. And so it was very much so like Kairos means the right moment in time. It is very much so like the right moment in time. I was working in SIBO Labs, which what like was the lab that developed the VIX, right? And like a lot of cool things. And so like it just felt like everything is coming together. And I was like, this is the right jump I want to make at this time in my life versus working on building another prediction market exchange myself, which I had like, many offers to go do that. I was like, I'd rather just go and build this aggregator, a way for people like you and me to get exposure to prediction markets and really trade them like they're meant to be traded.
Yeah, I actually have a couple questions here too. My first question is like, when you were working at these institutions, were other people also picking up on the trend of prediction markets? Um, y- is it saturated in that space yet, or is it still very much unsaturated? Like from what you know right now. And again, part two of the question is that you mentioned something really interesting, which is, um, you know, you wanted to build an aggregator instead of a market. I'm curious if you want to kind of get into the details of those trade-offs a little bit more. Like what makes the aggregator a much better play in your opinion? So two-part
Yeah,
question. Apologies for that, but
sure, no worries. Let me start with the latter. So for us, like the reason we're creating an aggregator and creating this professional trading terminal, it's not so much opportunity based as much as it's like this is what we as traders would want. This is what we as traders would need, right? Like we know folks at Cboe Cross, like we're from Chicago, the house of trading. So we know folks at all the trading firms that like on their side times would like to trade prediction markets, but they don't have the time to build out the infrastructure and the plumbing themselves to connect to all these various exchanges. And so we do that for them. And then not only do we aggregate, but we built the single, what we believe is an incredibly performant interface that we believe that traders can use, right? And so it's a mix of two. To go back on your first question was like, how is this market saturated? Um, Prediction markets are growing, right? In like with retail and institutions, it's going to continue to happen. Is the market saturated? No, there's tons of opportunities to continue to grow. I know, like, based on what I can like reasonably disclose, that like many trading firms are trying to enter the space, and that's why we built Kairos. Because as trading firms built their infrastructure, people like you and me, John, we deserve technology as well to trade. We deserve the ability to participate in these markets.
yeah, I mean, it's such a good point because, like, I still very much think it's very early on prediction markets. I mean, I know people working in the traditional financial firms like Hudson River Trading, and they still haven't penetrated the prediction market space to a huge degree. So this is still like massively early, and I think because we're in the prediction market space, we don't really register that. But it's crazy. Um, so one of the questions I wanted to ask you, Jay, is that you're backed by some big people. A16Z Crypto, Geneva Trading. I'm wondering, how did you kind of manage to get these investors back in Kairos? And what is kind of like the advice you would have for entrepreneurs in pursuing this raising process? Like, how can they kind of, for the people listening, how could they like what steps could they take to get that type of support?
Right. I think the best advice is just, have a mission, have a North Star that you truly believe in. We truly believe that we're building something that's really helpful for people like me and you, John, and work relentlessly towards it. And I think if you stay true to your passion and earnest with what you're building, I think all the parts around it will kind of fall together and go and get into place. And that's like the best piece of advice I can have. It just excuse me, just to stay true to your cause, stay true to what you're building, and no matter what, just keep going.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's good advice. I think I've heard. Man, I was talking to another founder, the founder of Robin Markets, who do staking in prediction markets, and he was saying, look, you have to be honest with your pitch. Like, people think that there's some secret sauce to this sort of thing, but really what it comes down to is just having a really good pitch and a really truthful pitch, not like a fake pitch, right? A lot of people go in
Sure.
with like a pitch that's not accurate of what they do. So I kind of think what you're saying, like, be true to your vision. I think that that's very spot on advice.
Thank you. Yeah, we're all figuring it out for the first time, but I'd say just stay obsessive with what you're building, and I think everything else will kind of fall into place.
So for someone who is kind of being introduced to Kairos, who's never used Kairos before, what problem are you solving for that person? Like, how would you kind of introduce Kairos to them?
It's a great question. I'd say for Kairos, if you've never heard of it, is it's just a better way to trade prediction markets. Today, if you wanted to trade, let's say on call sheet, you'd have to create a call sheet account, fund your account. And then if you want to trade on Polymarket, you got to switch your tab or create a Polymarket account. And then if you want to trade on Predict.fund, you need to create an account, your Predict.fund account. And you're trading on these simple GUIs that your son can trade, right? that's what these prediction markets are made for. We strongly believe in the true utility prediction markets, which is that they're these incredibly important financial instruments. And so because of that, we've created an interface where you can trade across many exchanges really quickly with the speed and the technology that's required to let people like you and me actually make money and like contribute to markets and trade as like serious professional traders. So the way I'd say it is it's just a much better way to trade.
Yeah,
But
I mean, oh, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, like, I know I've said this, but I feel like sometimes like a demo always works better. So happy to kind of share my screen and kind
Let's
of
jump in.
show you
I'm
the
excited.
platform in real time and
By the
kind
way,
of
I've
get.
seen the platform before. I've seen it before, so it's going to be pretty impressive. So I'm excited. First time, first time that that Kairos is being seen. So this is a big
Yes.
moment.
Yes. And while we're going about that, do you want to say the last question that you had for me? I'm gonna start sharing my screen as well.
Let's see. So I guess my other question would be is like just difference. Okay, let me just add you right here.
So there we go. Here's the
So my
Kairos
other
platform.
yeah, yeah. Already it looks cool. Like it's fast. I mean, you're seeing like
Yes.
really fast moving stuff right here.
Yeah. So, I mean, the way I describe Kairos is like, look, it's built for professional traders. We have sub-second data. The next fastest is 1 minute, right? And so, like on any platform they can find. So, like the best thing about Kairos is that we're made for professional traders to trade quickly, trade fast. We're watching these in real time. And then we also have a lot of advanced order types. So, for example, if you're familiar with the trailing stop, right now, I can go and let me switch to the up market. I'm going to place a trailing stop order, $5 on this prediction market with an offset of 14. Let me just time the market properly because we like to win. And let's see really quickly. Okay. Just want to make sure that we get in at a good entry point. Okay, look, the market just flipped. So we did a good job waiting right there. And so what you'll see on Kairos is that like you can basically trade cross market. So right there, we just placed, and now as you can see, we have a trailing stop that's adjusting in real time. So you see that like that's a stop loss. So that basically is moving along with your profits, but then it will never drop lower. And so like right now, we're basically locked in the profits, right? Isn't that awesome? Like basically what you're able to do is trade this market, but then hey, like what if I also want to trade the 15-minute market? Well, let's hop over to here. Let me just really quickly toss in a trade on this 15-minute market downturn at the 96% odds. I'm going to put in this trade. I'm going to go back here to this old market, manage my position that's still running in the background, go and take my $1.12 profit, boom, submit the close order, taken care of. And then let me switch back to like the other market and then see what's going on here. I'm able to manage the position and like it's an incredible way. So let's say I don't know if this one's gonna win, honestly, John. So I'm gonna close this out because we have to win, right? There's a little bit of liquidity, but we're gonna get out of this position. Boom, and 6%, right? So 6 cents. And so like that's the way that prediction markets are meant to be traded. You're supposed to be quick. It's supposed to be fast. It's almost like a complete new paradigm, right? Like the way that prediction markets can be traded on Kairos, which gets me so excited, is because it's not actually like anything you'll see before, right? Like a lot of people have built great tools for long dated markets, but a lot of what we do is for Kairos is for those winners, for the people that just need to win. They want the best technology, they want the best speed, they want the best experience, right? That's who we're building for. Right. And so like for example, like there's like live game money lines, right? And we can pop that in and like we can see like who's winning in this Tyler and Liam like fight, right? Like game, right? And so like it's really fun to be able to like trade across various markets and do some cool things. And I'm sure you've never seen this before too. And so
Oh,
let's
you can
let's
drag and drop two things in there. That I mean
yes, you can trade
that
the
is
up
cool.
and down at the exact same time, John. And then what I like to do, and what a lot of traders will do, by the way, is that one market is going to go full ticks into like just the deepest granularity, right? So I want to know exactly what's going on here. And then my other one will be long dated. And this is the way that you're meant to trade. And then you can drag in multiple markets. Should I show you something kind of crazy?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, you can look at like real time news and high frequency data. You have your three markets open at the exact same time. and then you're able to put in orders here as well, right?
That's
And so
really
now
cool.
you're like really monitoring the situation,
I mean,
right?
this is
Like
basically Jarvis. Like you build like a Jarvis for prediction, which is really cool. I mean, like and the but the, I mean the thing that I'm most impressed by is I like the speed of the of what's going on here. Like this is almost like 2 minute, and again, I haven't worked on this technically, so I don't know how things are working in the background. But like this is almost like a 1 minute, like a 5 minute Bitcoin market, but for every market, which I think is kind
exactly.
of interesting. I've never
It
actually seen that before.
So what our team did when we're building this product, we're like, okay, what is the single most difficult market to trade at pace? It's the 5 minute crypto markets, right? And so we
Yeah,
built the absolute best experience of our technology that, as you saw, the trailing stop was rearming sub-second. And we built it for that. So now when you're trading sports games, when you're trading the World Cup, which we're foreshadowing some cool things going on, when you're trading stuff like that, all the technology is built in. By the way, we have the live scores in for the games here as well. And we're gonna have something really cool for the World Cup that's gonna come in. We also have like launching algorithmic bots. So what you can do is you can set up bots that will buy and sell at certain prices. Um, so like for example, I'm on the Bitcoin 15-minute market right here. And then what you can do is that you can like have it basically like algorithmically go and just add in like a million different rules and what you need to trade, right? Like stop loss, take profits, spread, 24-hour volume, hold time, percentages. And these will all run for you, right? And that's like the coolest thing. I think the place that I am right now blocks like the live feeds, but we also have satellite live feeds and data coming in. So you can watch Bloomberg and like the new speeches, the Trump speeches, 15 seconds faster than anywhere else is what we're adding in our next feature. So there's a whole lot of stuff, but it makes me really happy is that like there's so many things that we're adding and building, and this is just the start.
yeah, that is crazy. I mean, the speed that things are moving is nuts. And and I think it's like because correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't traded a prediction market in like a couple weeks. So I'm, but so maybe it's changed. But basically, the last time I was trading, things moved on poly marketing kind of blocks, right? So you'd get like a lot
Yeah.
of volume, that it block up, it blocks down. This you can get really granular with it,
And and,
and you
and
can
look at
take
this.
tiny profits, which
And look
is what people want.
and look at this. You can monitor so many contracts at once. Look, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 contracts open at once. And I can hop between them like this, like super quickly, right? And that's the
Yeah.
cool thing. And by the way, I don't even need to use my like keys for it. I can just also just do it like this, my arrow keys. And then I don't even have to put my finger clips on. Look, I'm changing the amount and the price, switching from yes and no, and this is all done on my keyboard. I'm not even touching my mouse right now.
Yeah. So my question too is like so you've been in private beta for a little bit. I think how long has it been? Like 2 weeks or something like that, or
Yeah, it's been a little bit of time. Yeah, it's been
okay.
around a month where we've got like basically some of the top traders in the world just stress testing the heck out of Kairos.
What is some of the user behavior that you're seeing from them as they're kind of going through this and testing it? Like what surprising things are you kind of learning by watching these users trade? Because it is kind of a newer way to trade,
Right.
in terms of what you built.
So it depends on the person. So there's some folks that love like trading like live sports, right? And they love just hopping in to like something like our live sports feed, which is really cool, right? Because look at this. You can see every game that's live at the same time on Polymarket and Kalshi. And like kind of hop between them and are between. We have like stuff for the World Cup, right? Where we're gonna when the World Cup starts, we'll have the entire tournament bracket kind of set up. Right. And we have stuff for like upcoming games. So like this is like the entire calendar schedule. And so this is just one user behavior of like sports trading, right? And we have people that literally focus on that. Like, oh, here you can see for the World Cup, every single team, every single game. And then look at this. You can see all the fixtures.
Interesting.
And by
Oh,
the way,
that's
you can see all three prediction markets, or you can see every single game that's like kind of loaded in and available at the time. And then I think they're going to toss in predict.fund shortly into this too. So if you see England, you can kind of arb against these as well, right? There's a tons of edge, right? If you look here and across these, the pricing discrepancies. And then on top of that, like look, there's like a number, there's like politics traders, there's, there's crypto, there's people that do sports. It really is like the way that Kairos is set up is so that basically anyone can trade and what they need to trade, right? And so it's like we have a number of diverse user behaviors, and as a fully functional, customizable terminal, we kind of enable the entire suite.
So I have a user question for like, another kind of user question for you because you've been watching these trends, you've been watching these traders. Are there any signals that you're picking up that show you maybe ahead of time, like, oh yeah, this trader is definitely a profitable trader. He's trending with it. He's going to keep making profit. Versus traders that are just like, okay, well, if he, I can tell that this is a losing trader just by patternistic behavior. Because again, it goes into my last question. Like, you've built kind of like this new way to trade. So I'm just curious if you've gathered any feedback on like what is a good trader versus what is a bad trader.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. So, just from my previous experience, like, I've done a good bit of trading across like various exchanges, like Hyperliquid, Lighter, like all in the past. And so, I have a lot of experience trading. We tend not to look into our users' data and let them like kind of trade. We actually don't look at all. But however, like there's a time that like this guy that made like the BVIV index, like Cole, like he asked us for help on like he wanted a market make on his markets that like Polymarket created. And so we actually created a custom market making bot just for him to deploy, and anyone else can deploy it as well. So if people reach out to me, I am more than happy to kind of build in things that'll help. So like sometimes traders like, hey, I'm losing a bit of money. This is my strategy. And like while I don't regularly trade to the intensity I used to, which was I used to trade a lot, I still take I'll kind of toss the dust off my hands and kind of get in the weeds and kind of help them with their strategies as much as I can. Because for us, we're obsessed with traders, right? The only way Kairos works is if our traders are winning. And so though nothing that makes me happier than seeing my traders like message me like, hey, I just made like $300 on this trade as my first winning trade, and now I've like finally understood sizing, right? Or I finally understood like how to use these bots or like the stop loss. Or I understood the trick, and people are actually learning a lot using Kairos too, right? And so it's actually an incredible feeling when you're like able to teach people this completely new way to trade and have them like learn financial options as well and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that like having simulative trading is actually improves prediction market traders by like leaps and bounds. Like if you have like, traders just engaging in a simulation, like a simulative environment for like a couple months, um, they'll come out much better because they have the confidence to make like crazy moves. Like prediction trading is, I think it's very, I don't want, I'm curious in your opinion on this. I don't want to say it's, no, I kind of do want to say that it might require like higher IQ than I don't know, regular equities trading if you want to do well consistently. But I don't know. I'm interested in your opinion. I've heard this
So
take before. That's why I'm saying it.
I wouldn't actually say that's true. So like traditional equities and traditional trading is incredibly complex, right? There's like 101 like variables that you have to kind of keep track of. And like a thing to remember about like traditional trading and like traditional finance is like it's kind of like on purposefully made to be incredibly confusing for the end user. I was talking to a trader about this as well, and he's like prediction markets are so simple. They're just options, right? And so it like abstracts a lot of the things away for me and you to kind of just focus on what we're trading. Obviously, with like kind of these options, you have to be like pretty understanding with what you're trading, understanding how time affects what you're doing and stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, it's a lot easier. The people you're trading against, it's easier. Like, for like people on Kairos, if we're trading against someone that's not on Kairos, it's a huge impact, right? Like that's why a lot of traders on Kairos like, oh, can you please like not give this out? And I'm like, no, we have to give it out. But they're like, dude, like I just want to use this and don't want anyone else to get it, right? And so it's the cool thing about that is, but there's in prediction market, there's so many people trading on call sheet on their phone, poly market. So there's a large retail unsophisticated user base. So there's a lot of alpha to be had in like kind of
Yeah.
improving liquidity in these markets.
Right. I mean, you see it like a couple days ago there was a reporter. Yeah, I've seen it all over X. Like the top traders take money from the lower for like from 90% of everyone else. I think that you bring up a good point. Like a lot of that could just be because it's a new category, and people are still learning like how to do it. I do think that the learning curve will go up. I do think as people trade more, it'll be harder and harder to just take people's money, quote unquote. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I genuinely agree with that take. I just
That,
wanted to throw it out there because I've been hearing it so much.
I agree. And that's why I'm like incredibly passionate about what we're building at Kairos. It's because I truly believe that we can really help people to the best of our ability with their trading, right? We can build out technologies, we can set up features that can help them limit their losses, right? Like setting up stop losses, setting up trigger, like setting up take profits. Like I really want like prediction market traders to make money. Like if it's like the trading firms, so like the average kid like me, Jay, that was, at Illinois studying, that's trading on his free time. Like, I want Jay to make a lot of money. And by doing that, like, my way of like building Kairos is our way of like supporting the people and helping them trade prediction markets and kind of giving back in some sense. And so that's why it's incredibly important for us that, like, I promise you, like, if you're ever a trader on Kairos and you ever like ping me, I'm there to help, right? If there's ever anything you need, anything you want me to look at, any strategies, like that's our commitment from our team of like ex nasdaq, ex quants, ex working at exchanges, to kind of ensure that like prediction market traders and our users have the best experience that we can provide them.
So you've built one of the best trading infrastructure products that I've seen. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I've seen it before. It's really good. It's really fast. Um, how do you see things growing from here? Like, are you going to add in, like, for instance, are you going to add in perps? Is there, some sort of perpetual trading, for prediction markets or parlays maybe would be better. But like, how do you see things growing for Kairos?
Yeah, look, there's a number of things that we can add in the future. I think perps with like, I think what we're hearing from like Colsheen Polymark and releasing perps is something we could integrate. But right now, like, to be completely transparent, like the only thing we care about as a team is building just the absolute best experience for trading prediction markets. As we add in new exchanges, that will continue to grow. But our North Star is just ensuring that people are winning. I often get questions like, are you doing your own exchange? Are you doing X or Y? Like, we're very focused on like the best terminal in the world to trade and making that a reality.
So what inefficiencies exist in the prediction and like today, that you think you know people could still kind of like take advantage of? Like, what are some of the big inefficiencies that you can look out for as a trader to kind of arb, if you will, and get edge?
Right. So I can't give out all the secrets, but I can say that look, like obviously one big one that everyone knows is like cross venue arbitrage, right? And like you can see with like call sheet poly market, and now that we have predict.fun as well, like you can deploy your strategies that work on poly market or maybe won't work on poly market because there's too much competition with one button on the predict.fun, right? Which is it's
Right.
just amazing. Like you don't have to code anything, you have to build anything. Literally just take it and just be like, okay, strategy, predict.fun contract, go. And that is where I see a lot of alpha, right? A lot of people that trade and make tons of money. Like I was just talking to like one of the biggest hyperliquid traders, and he's like, yeah, I used to make like tons of money trading on hyperliquid, but now there's more competition. It's harder. Well, the
Yeah.
cool thing about prediction markets is like there's more exchanges. So you can just switch over to one of these other exchanges and kind of like if the strategy was working and this is less liquid, you can provide liquidity, you can market make, stuff like that. Like Kairos does a lot of cool things for like bond farming and like working in like some like stop losses, and then you can just like set and forget, right? So John, like I'd recommend you later to like let's find some cool bonds for you. We can do a call later and like get like some stop losses too, and then like get it, just forget about it, and then come back in like a couple weeks, and we'll tell everyone how it did and if it did well, right? And we'll set up the proper guardrails. So that's a really cool thing. I think that's one of the like the easiest way to get acclimated with Kairos. If you're like, hey, I just want to start a little bit, do a little set and forget strategies, do some bond farming, set like a 2% gain, 1% stop loss, and just see how that goes and kind of go from there. Because I think there's a lot to be had across the board in prediction markets. I wouldn't say full send anything, but I say experimenting is good. It teaches you a lot. It teaches you about math, teaches you about trading, it teaches you about markets, teaches you about the politics, economy, the world, and you're able to trade and maybe make some capital.
Do you think that there's any advantage to kind of creating information about externalities? Like, what I mean by that is, like, for instance, we've seen markets on Polymarket that people get upset about, like rules, whether or not the rules did well. I'm wondering if there's any sort of alpha to be had from like creating a product that around or integrating a product into like Kairos, for instance, that could kind of like foretell almost like the externalities of the situation. Like, look, yeah, this is the market, this is the fundamentals, but guess what? There's also like the UMA kind of infrastructure around, or things like that.
Well,
There's a lot of externalities to these rules, right? Like there was one market that like changed the map database. So like where
sure.
were they like where they're getting the mapping information from for like Ukraine markets, for instance, could be completely changed. I'm wondering if there's like yeah, if there's any sort of value in creating stuff like that, or if you've already created stuff like that.
I think there's a ton of value. So I think what we haven't told the audience here today is that like Polyfactual also lives on the Kairos terminal. They power somewhere
Oh yeah,
AI's engine,
sure.
right? We actually showed it off for a quick sec there. And so like I think that would be something amazing that John, let's get that in the terminal from you, right? Like, we believe in like other people building great technology and tapping into Kairos's infrastructure. And this is like a larger call out to the audience is that if anyone's a builder, if anyone likes to build, but like, struggles with distribution, but just wants to build great tooling for like great products. Like at Kairos, you can actually tap into our distribution and create your own products, and we'll like have it live on the terminal as a component, as a module, and we can figure out a way to make sure you're well compensated for it. So I think it's a way to contribute and tap into the Kairos distribution that I think we've seen through our Twitter. It usually does well when like DB reposts and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and it's so needed for like prediction market terminals because there's just a lot of information that you have to digest. It's
right,
unlike any other asset class. There's a ton of I mean, theoretically, I guess for trading like normal equities, I guess that would be helpful too. But in prediction markets, it's like especially helpful. So you have like you might need news integration. You might need like fax AI integration. You might need there's a whole bunch of different stuff that is needed that might not have been before in like hyperliquid, for instance. So I,
sure,
I think it's very interesting. So,
agree.
okay.
Speaking of hyperliquid, very interesting things coming on that end soon as well.
Oh, really? Any alpha leakage here, or
A
was
lot of
that?
interesting things coming. I think that's telling enough.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, keep us in the loop on that because that's pretty exciting. Hyperliquid's going crazy right now too, so
Yeah, yeah.
nuts. Um,
Starboy of crypto.
yeah, for now. No, I'm just kidding. No, but okay. So my question to you, Jay, is you built Kairos. I think a lot of people are interested in maybe joining Kairos and kind of getting exposure to the to what you're doing. How do people like? Are you looking to hire? Are you looking to kind of grow? How would people get in touch with you for that?
Right. So before that, one small correction. So obviously, like I'm doing the interview, but we have an incredible team behind us. Like Zaid Al Zain, my co-founder, Arslan, he is one of our founding engineers, and Charlie is another founding engineer. And they're the reason that I can, be on this interview and show off like the really cool things that we're making is kind of because of them. And yeah, like look, Kairos is known to famously like have an incredibly small team of just ex quants, like ex exchange, and like very much builder mindset. And yes, look, we're always looking for great talent. I'm always happy to speak to someone that like would want to join a team like us. We're very passionate about what we do, and we truly believe that we're going to have a large impact. If someone believes strongly in prediction markets and wants to get involved, just hit me up on Twitter. I'm usually online or reachable, and like let's figure something out, right? Because you know we hire some of the best engineers in the world, and we want to continue making that happen and continue growing and building great products for the everyday person.
Um, so I don't know how much time you. So how much time do you have left? Are you good, or do you need to hop off soon, or what's your
Yeah,
schedule?
I'm good for a couple more questions.
Okay, okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay, so what I wanted to kind of get your take on is regulation stuff, right? There's a lot of that going around right now on X. It's a concern. So I'm just wondering like what regulatory outcome are you hoping for? When it comes to Kairos, when it comes to building, the things that the tools that you're developing.
Right. Look, for us, like, look, we welcome regulation. I think it's an important talking point right now and something to really get right to ensure that markets are fair, transparent, and that there are no bad actors involved, right? And so like the short answer is that look, we welcome regulation. We look forward to like meeting compliance wherever we are, whatever country that we're traded from, etc., and ensuring that we follow all the rules and regulations. We believe regulation is incredibly important, but we're willing to work with whatever parties to ensure that we're fully compliant and kind of in the green area and making sure that everything's okay.
All right, I got a couple of rapid fire closing questions for you.
Sure.
So my first question is, what keeps you up at night about the about the company? Like, if there's anything keeping you up at night, what is the thing that's keeping you up at night?
Well, it's just out of excitement, right? Like I want to really build. I love to build a builder at heart, and so like I want to get people on the product. I want to make sure my traders are winning. Our traders are winning. It's funny. Like we almost function like as like traditional HFT firms. The way they think about their companies is that their clients are their traders. That's how they think about it because they're traders, they're building the trade technology, and then their clients have to win. So we think about it the same way. Like our clients are the traders, and I want our traders to win. So I'm always making sure I'm always texting our top traders, is everything going okay? Like, can I help you? And they're always like, yes, Jay, I'm killing it. And so I'm like, okay, awesome. Nothing needed there, but we're releasing some more cool stuff. And then what was the second part? Sorry.
Well, it's just rapid fire questions basically. But my other question, I think that's a great answer. I mean, I fully agree with that too. I mean, there's nothing better than when you've actually like provided value to like the end trader, and there's nothing worse when you haven't provided value to the end trader. I've done both. I've done both.
Right.
I've been in both situations. Usually, in my situation, even when you don't provide value, the trader can be very understanding. Sometimes they're not, but if it's a newer product, and yeah, those are the bad days. But if it's a newer product, a lot of times there's an element of forgiveness there. But I fully agree with you on that. So I have two more questions for you.
Sure.
First, what's the craziest market that you've ever seen in Poly Market as a trader, or as while you've been working on Kairos?
I think like the market relating to, Jesus Christ was definitely like the most interesting. I think everyone agrees on that. But my
Yeah,
favorite markets are like some of these like pre-IPO, like Databricks and stuff like that. I think that's so sick.
yeah, those are really cool markets, especially because they tap into like real economic hedging.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Okay, so my final question for you, I guess it's two questions in one. What do you do for fun, and what are your hobbies?
Yeah, so I used to have a lot of hobbies. I'd play soccer, hang out with my friends. I'd go to the gym and stuff like that. So yeah, I used to have a lot of hobbies.
And now it's mostly it's Kairos mainly.
We're focused on Kairos, focused on our traders, John.
I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Yeah, this is a great platform. Really, really awesome that you came on and showed us, Jay. I mean, I'm excited to use it as a trader myself.
Thank you.
Um, so yeah, I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to the
Yeah.
launch. When do you guys go live, or can you not kind of announce?
We have something really fun planned in the coming weeks for the World Cup. So just keep your eyes out for that. And I'm sure that if you want access, we'll figure out a way to, try our best to get you access. Our wait list is at 81,000 right now. So we'll do our
Nice.
best. But I think people on Polyfactual, if you go to at like we'll put a link for Polyfactual users, like the
This is
first
sick,
how
man.
many ever people that are using the stream will get you guys kind of on board right now and get you guys access to trading if there's, for the viewers
This is
on.
the
So
value you get. This is the value you get when you watch Polyfactual stream. Okay, you get this type of value. This is great.
yeah, I think just go to app.kairos.trade/invite/polyfactual in the
Let me
next
put it
10
up here right now.
minutes. In the
Oh, we got
next
a
10
couple
minutes.
people. Access me, please. Okay, cool.
So it's app.kairos.trade/invite/polyfactual. It will be up in, is it up now? It's up now for you guys. Arslan says it's up. So it's up now for our traders and then it'll be active for an hour. Then we'll have to cut it. So
Guys, go
get
to the
in now.
site and get this alpha right now. Go to
Of
the site,
course.
get this alpha right now.
Yeah, and just
Um,
ping me if any needs. And our Discord, discord.gg/Kairos Live. Any issues, just create a ticket, tag engineering, and we're there for you.
that's amazing. Thanks, Jay. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. And
Thanks
yeah,
for
I'm
having me, man.
looking forward to seeing this and trying it out myself.
Of course. Thank you, brother. Bye.
Talk to you.